Hey there YouTube lovers, my name is BB8 and today I am going to talk about a question that's been on my mind for quite a while now, and that is how the Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess will be ported to the Nintendo Switch 2. Only because since the April Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, we have kind of been left in a weird spot with Twilight Princess. Only because the Wind Waker was confirmed to be a part of the GameCube Nintendo Switch Online Collection, which does completely deconfirm the Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD. But what does this mean for Twilight Princess? And that's what this video is for, to speculate what form this fan-favourite Zelda game will take when it finally makes its way to the Switch 2. Because Twilight Princess has 4 different possibilities for ways it can make it to the Switch 2. One of them is less likely because of Wind Waker being ported to NSO, like I just said, but Twilight Princess is one fans are hoping to make it to the Switch 2. Myself included, because I really want to play Twilight Princess at some point. So, without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? Alright, so the first option that Twilight Princess could take is the GameCube version being added to the Nintendo Switch Online Collection. Since Nintendo does regularly expand the Nintendo Switch Online collections with more retro games, and with GameCube making it as the first collection to be added in the Switch 2 era, Twilight Princess could potentially join the lineup further down the line. While it hasn't been confirmed in the NSO trailer that Twilight Princess is coming, I think this is one of the most likely options that could be taken here. But the main disadvantage with the GameCube version being ported instead of Twilight Princess HD is that the visuals from the HD version as well as the quality of life features would be lost. But that is the case with the Wind Waker as well. Some fans may prefer the GameCube version over Twilight Princess HD. The main downside of the GameCube version of Twilight Princess is that there's no widescreen support at all. But this option is there for those who want to play the game as it originally launched. The second option does not exist yet, but this is for a potential Wii Nintendo Switch Online collection. This was one of the launch titles for the Nintendo Wii, with pointer controls and motion-based sword combat, which did change quite a few things from the GameCube version. But if Wii games were to come to Switch Online in the future, there is a chance Twilight Princess would be one of the launch titles. And the Switch already has motion controls, so it's not out of the realm of possibility just yet. To be realistic, emulating the Wii motion controls might be a bit tricky, especially if Nintendo wants to replicate the experience in both docked and handheld. And they'd have to emulate the sensor bar setup from the original, which might be a bit weird, but it's not impossible. But I wouldn't see this being the most convenient way to revisit Twilight Princess. And that's what puts Twilight Princess at a very tricky spot, only because Twilight Princess was available on not one, but 2 Nintendo platforms, both the GameCube and the Wii. But it is possible it could be in both collections, since we have seen in the past that certain remakes and re-releases have been featured on more than one collection, such as Super Mario Bros., Super Mario All-Stars, and the Super Mario Advance Collection. Heck, even Metroid and Metroid Zero Mission were featured on NSO as well. So there is a possibility that Twilight Princess could be on both GameCube and Wii NSO, but only time will tell. Now the next option is the option that a lot of people were hoping for during the cycle of the Nintendo Switch 1, and that is a port of Twilight Princess HD from the Wii U, which we also did see this treatment with games like Pikmin 3 Deluxe and Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, with Wind Waker HD being rumoured for years, but the issue is with Twilight Princess HD is that it's available on NSO expansion pack on Switch 2 only. And this might actually decrease the chances of Twilight Princess HD being ported to the Nintendo Switch 2. And it wouldn't make a lot of sense for them to HD port one while giving the other away through NSO, unless they were bundled together, which was rumoured for a long time, but it never actually happened. But from a business perspective, they do tend to avoid double dipping too much, unless they're like confident that the game will sell well again, which Twilight Princess did not sell that well on the Wii U, but it's not exactly Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom numbers, or heck, Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask 3D. And while some people out there are still hoping that Twilight Princess HD will make the cut, I just don't see Twilight Princess HD being likely, because Wind Waker HD was added to the NSO collection. And finally, the last option we have is a full-on remake of Twilight Princess. Well, in terms of Zelda remakes, we've only had Link's Awakening so far, in terms of like proper remakes, not counting remasters like Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, and Twilight Princess. But this option could be a remake on the scale of Final Fantasy VII. But if we were to get a Final Fantasy VII scale Zelda remake, my pick would not be Twilight Princess. For me, it would either be Ocarina of Time or Twilight Princess. But there is a valid argument to a full remake being made. Twilight Princess has aged decently in terms of visuals compared to other Zelda titles, but a remake could improve on the overall art direction and breathe new life into characters such as Midna and Wolf Link. A full-on remake could update the combat, overhaul the design of the dungeons, and merge the GameCube, Wii, and Wii U versions together in terms of controls. Kind of like how Metroid Prime Remastered has a variety of control options, such as the GameCube, Metroid Prime Trilogy, and modern controls. Twilight Princess could include Metroid Prime Remastered style control options. But the problem is that Nintendo's development teams are possibly working on a new mainline Zelda game after Tears of the Kingdom, and a remake could take years to make unless Grezzo or an outside partner took on this project. And the remake is probably the second least likely option to go. So where does this leave us for Twilight Princess then? The most realistic path I can see being taken here is Twilight Princess showing up on Nintendo Switch Online, either the GameCube or Wii version, or even both, like we have seen with some Mario games, especially since Nintendo has added the GameCube collection to Switch Online recently. I feel like the HD version is less likely with Wind Waker being added to NSO, and while a full-on remake would be great, I just don't see it being likely. But no matter how Twilight Princess makes it on to the Nintendo Switch 2, it does deserve another chance. It doesn't matter how. If it's on a cartridge, if it's on a subscription service, this is one that deserves to be accessible to modern audiences, because it's the only 3D Zelda game left not available on Switch 2. So guys, what did you think of my thoughts on how Twilight Princess could make it to Nintendo Switch 2? And I want to hear from you. How do you think they'll bring it over? Would you want the original GameCube version? Would you want Twilight Princess HD? Or would you want a full-on remake? Tell me in the comments. So, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and turn your notification bell on so you don't miss another video like this one in the future. And I will see you all in a future video. BB8 out.